So today, what we're going to be doing is I'm going to be trying to convert the shadows stuff that we've been doing in previous videos into Godot. Now, I don't know how to use Godot at all, so this could be quite interesting. I think there's going to be a lot of shader stuff in this because, yeah, this is all shader based. So I'm not sure how much of the actual Godot stuff I'll be touching, but we're going to give it a go. I've already been tinkering a little bit behind the scenes just to try and figure out what's going on. And the first bit we've got to do is generate mipmaps. So there were a lot of comments on this video a while back when it came out that a really good optimization to do would be to use mipmaps to know how big of a step size you can take. Half, how you going? Good to see you again. Yeah, so a really good optimization is to use mipmaps to know how big of a step size you can take. But they've got to be custom mipmaps so that you basically, actually, I think I can probably show you if I can remember what's going on here. So yeah, I made this in P5.js, but P5.js is quite limited, so we're changing it over to something that actually makes sense. We made a whole wheat artisan bread. Oh, that sounds so good. That sounds delicious. I made some banana bread the other day with walnuts in it, and that was delicious. But yeah, some nice bread. That sounds good. I hope it's yummy. But so yes, we need to. I'm going to try and show you the mipmap stuff that's going on, so you can sort of get an idea. Basically, the idea behind it, though, in simple terms, is that the mipmap stores a lower and lower resolution of the height map data. And when it goes down a resolution, instead of just being the average, which is what a normal mipmap does, it takes the maximum. So we know the highest peak in that region that's covered by that tile. First time making bread. Wow. Yeah. Nice. I don't think I've ever actually made bread. I've made damper, but I've never made like a loaf, you know? Damper's just like flour and water and a bit of salt. And you chuck it in a pot on a fire. Anyway, I'm going to try and show you the mipmaps. So I've got... This is like a new version of the shader stuff here. And so I've got this generate mipmaps function, which takes in an image. And basically it figures out how many levels we need by taking the square root of the image size. And basically just generates a whole bunch of little images. Hey, Simon. And expired milk. Hey, how are you going? Yeah, we're live. Going live is a bit of a new thing for me. This is the third time I've ever done it, so apologies if it's a bit of a weird experience. But yeah, we're going to give it a crack. So yeah, we're looking at generating these mipmaps for the shadows, which I have got working in P5.js, but I want to get this working in Godot. And actually, the reason for that, I can show you exactly why. I was showing this on a previous stream when I was working on my game, but this is a different thing. So if I go back to... So what I tried to do with the old version of the shaded code, the shadow code, sorry, I tried making this tile-based thing, thinking that, you know, if you're making like a top-down, I don't know, tower defense game or something, and you're putting your towers in, it could be fun to have shadows in that. So I tried using the old code, and as you can see, as the shadows get long, they get disgusting. And this is because in the shadow code, in the shadow fragment shader here, when we're stepping through along the line of the ray that's being cast towards the sun, I'm taking a minimum step size that's based on the elevation of the current ray position. And so it's assuming that there's a maximum slope that the terrain will be. But in this case, with, you know, something tile-based, it could be a vertical wall. And so the ray assumes that it can take a bigger step than it actually can. So the way we're getting around that is by using these mipmaps. So yeah, this is what the issue is. So then I made the mipmap version, and that actually works quite well. I can show you that as well. But there's other issues with this. I think if I run this, actually, I can't remember what sprites I've got loaded. We'll find out. Don't know why it's going so slow either. Here you go. Oh, gee, that's a terrible sprite. But I think so it looks like it's all glitchy, but I think that's actually accurate to the height data. But this was the actual crux of the issue, is I made this terrible little program that, this one here, that lets me draw a height map. I'll see if I can zoom in on that for you. So yeah, it lets you draw this height map data, and it's a very, very bad tool for it. As you can see, not very good at all. And this is basically just a nightmare to try and create any height map data. So what I wanted to do was use Blender to then create some 3D models and be able to export that as height map data. And so what I did is in the shading tab, actually there's a video for this that I can link you guys to. This one here. So I'll pop it in the chat. So if you want to have a look at it, you can. So this is basically how, I'll put this in the chat as well, how to export height map data from Blender. So yeah, this video goes all into depth on how to do this, but a very quick rundown is that you can take the position of the geometry and basically just output the Z as the surface color. So I think if I move this up and down on the Z axis, you can see it changes color because it's just using the height, or I guess the distance from the camera to color it. And then in the output, I can output it as an OpenEXR file which has floating point textures, which means that instead of having to mess around with, so you can see this thing here. Oh, I keep forgetting I'm zoomed in. Sorry. This is where the rustiness in streaming is affecting me. Hopefully you could see what I was talking about. But yeah, this image here is the height map data, and this is because I was packing the data into the floats, like the float of the data into the pixels of the image, and so you have this awful image to deal with. But by using a floating point texture, which you can't see down here, using a floating point texture, you can actually use that data just as is, which is so much nicer. You can just import the image and you don't have to mess around with it or anything. So P5.js can't handle OpenEXR data, and I think there is some way of using floats, but basically not really. So Godot does let you use floats, like floating point textures and stuff, so that's excellent. So essentially what we need to do is we need to figure out a way to generate the bitmaps from the texture in Godot to get the bitmap levels. But before we do that, I'm just going to show you what it looks like in P5.js, just so you know what we're aiming for, and then we're going to crack on with the Godot stuff. All right, so yes, this file generates the bitmaps, and in fact, I think a fun way that I can do this maybe... Actually, no, I don't think that will be a fun way to do that at all. Ignore me. I'm just going to do an image, and I can get the bitmap textures dot source, and then actually I'll just get I'm going to create a quick actually this will be a const level of detail equals mouse x on width times, oh gosh, missing all the keyboard things. All right, times that, and we want to floor this into an integer. Okay, so that will give us the level of detail, and then we should be able to pop that in there, and then minus width on 2 minus height on 2. So this should show us the... No, it does not. Hang on, let me try something. Something is going deeply wrong here. Let me figure out what is going on. I think probably if I just get rid of that. Oh, and I do need to keep clearing the screen, and I probably want to... Oh, I should have done this in the shader. Would have made a lot more sense. Maybe I'll do that instead. Sorry. I'm just going to undo all of this. I also think I'm going to have to take my jumper off soon. I'm getting warm in here. Okay, so what we can do instead... Yeah, okay, this is good. This is good. But instead of doing that, I can do... I think I can get height raw. No, I cannot do that. Sorry, this demo is not going... This is always the way demos go, though, isn't it? So get height raw should be... Why does it not like that? Oh, I need to... It's very obvious why it doesn't like that. Alright, let's try that. So that is the base level height map. And then we should be able to pass in... Maybe we use... What have we got? Sun position, which I think is basically just the mouse. Yeah. Okay, cool. So... Back in the shadows, we can do sun.x times... I think I got like 10 levels or something. So let's try that. Nope, doesn't like it for some reason. Oh, what's it called? Sun pos. That'll be why. Sun pos. All right, so if we run this, we still get an error. What is it this time? Not enough. Oh. Gee, I'm not being very switched on this morning. Sorry. There we go. Okay, much better. So this is what we're aiming to achieve in Godot today, I think, is generating these mipmaps. So basically, I've got a shader here that will generate these mipmaps. And essentially, it just takes the larger scale texture, and then it figures out at the new location, what's the average of the 4 pixels in the previous generation. Because you can imagine... If we've got, I'll draw it out for you because hopefully this will make more sense. So the highest resolution picture, let's say it's a 4x4 image. So this is the first mipmap. And then as we generate the second mipmap, we're generating it as a 2x2. So it's going down by an order of magnitude. I wonder if there's some sign distance field solution to doing the shadows. Yeah, I really wanted to figure out a way of generating an SDF based on the height map. I think that would be like a really cool way of figuring it out. But I couldn't figure out how to make that happen in an efficient way. And I think the thing is, I want this to be able to have the terrain be... what's called dynamic, essentially. I want to be able to change the terrain data on the fly and have this keep up. And I think if you had some static terrain, you could absolutely do something where you figure out an approximation with some maths to figure out a sign distance field. And I think that would be really cool, but I don't know how fast it would be. Whereas generating these mipmaps is actually pretty quick. It's not quite real time, but if you are doing something, tile-based, it happens within... I think it was like about 200 milliseconds it generates the mipmaps. But yeah, so basically, as we step down a mipmap level, this pixel here is corresponding to these 4 pixels here. And so it takes the max value. Oh my gosh, sorry. I'm trying to draw with the mouse. It's not very good. And so then, this one here is looking at these 4. And then this one here looks at these 4, and this one here looks at these 4. And essentially, we can do this as all the way down until we just end up with a single 1x1 image, which is basically the maximum height at any any point in the terrain. And so this is what we've got here. So as we step through this, you can see it's getting more and more pixelated, and that's because essentially we're zooming out, scaling down the image, and each quadrant you can see is basically the lightest of the 4 pixels of the previous generation. And that's because we're keeping the maximum height. And what this allows us to do is, instead of taking a step size based on the slope of the terrain, so before what we were doing is, if we had our, a point here and, the light source here, I should make that yellow, shouldn't I? This is the light source. There we go, happy little sun. So yeah, if we've got our point here and we're taking steps towards the sun like this, basically what I was assuming is that there is some maximum slope that the terrain can take. And so I know that if I'm this distance away, I should really be using multiple colors, shouldn't I? So yeah, I know if I'm this distance away from the terrain, then I can make a step size that's this long. And so that's the assumption that I'm making. But obviously this completely breaks down if your terrain has something vertical in it, because as the ray is stepping across this way, it sees, I'm getting further and further from the terrain, so I should be able to take a bigger and bigger step. And then you get to a point where it'll take a step through the entire terrain. And so it should have obviously hit the terrain at multiple points throughout this, but because I'm assuming that there's a minimum step size, I'm taking this massive step that goes through the entire terrain, and that's because this is vertical, which is a reasonable thing for terrain to do, especially in something like a top-down tower defense thing. If you put a tower down, it's going to have vertical walls. And so this is where this solution breaks down, and this is where the mip maps become very cool. So you can imagine, as a side view of the mip map solution, basically what we're saying is, at any given point, we can figure out what is the highest terrain in this region, and we can shrink that region down until we find out if we've either hit the terrain or if that region is, like, the point is above all of the highest points in a given region, which means we can step over that entire region. So if we had this is our terrain like this. So at the first, and say our ray position is here, for example, the first division of the mip map, well, actually, sorry, the lowest division of the mip map. So when we're down at just the single pixel level, so we know the maximum height of the entire terrain, the entire height map, which is probably about here. So we can see that, and we say, okay, our point is beneath, on the wrong thing. Our point is still beneath this height here. So obviously we can't take a step size this big. So what we can do is we go down to the next division of the mip map. So we're zooming out one scale, and so our region that we're now checking has gone from the entire height map data to 1/4 of it. And so we then check that region. So if I divide this in 2, and then maybe if I can select this bit. Not being very precise here. No, why is it doing that? Don't do that. That and that. There we go. So in this region, our highest point is now down here. Okay? Yeah, this is a really cool solution. It's basically a quad tree, yeah. Exactly. Yes, Half, I'm trying to do art. It's not going very well. I'm sure you can tell that that's the case. So yeah, so now at this next lowest level, we can figure out, okay, we're still beneath the terrain, so we're going to divide it again. And so that would be dividing it here now, because as we go up, we're basically doubling in the X and the Y direction each time. And I'm sure you can all figure out how this works. But basically now in this division, this is no longer here. And in fact, I think I can get rid of all of this. and our division is now in this region. The line is now like down here, basically, and so we can see that we are. Gosh, art is really not my strong suit, as you can tell. we're now above this line here, which means that we know that for this entire length of segment here, we know that we're above that terrain. So if we're moving, say, in this direction, we know that we can move all the way to the edge of this division. And so now our new position is here. And basically we can repeat this the whole time, but it means that instead of relying on some arbitrary slope value, thanks, Half, that it means a lot. Instead of relying on some arbitrary slope value, we can now rely on the data, which is what we always want to be doing. And so, yeah, we can take now steps that can be up to, a quarter of the height of the terrain. If we're above anything in this lowest level map, it means obviously that we're above all the terrain. So we can just, we can assume that the ray is going to hit the light. So this is a very 2-year-old drawing of how it all works. But hopefully you can understand the concept of it. And so this shader here is what is generating these bitmaps. So it basically figures out the positions of the pixels in the higher level one. So the previous level of bitmap, like the higher resolution bitmap, is passed in here, and we can figure out the 4 locations for the pixels that will contribute to the lower level one, and then we find the maximum one, and then we put that in as the lower level pixel. And so then in the shadow code, when we are doing the stepping, basically we start at the highest level, or actually, it's very confusing, the terminology with the bitmap. So the highest resolution one is bitmap 0, and then as you get lower and lower resolution, the level goes up. So we start at the highest level, but the lowest resolution one, and work our way back up. So while the height of the terrain at this map level is above our ray position, and we're, still got levels to go, we go down each level until we find one that we are above, or if we're not above it, then we've hit the terrain and we are in shadow. So that's what's happening here. So yeah, this is the goal for what we're doing in Godot. And like I was saying right at the start, I was doing a little bit of messing around with this just to see what I could come up with. Basically, I've got this cog image, which was an export from the Blender that I was showing you before, and I've got a canvas layer with a color rect, which has a shader as its material type. I was looking up a lot of tutorials on how to do all this. And so in the shader, basically what I'm trying to do is just figure out how the level of details are going to get in there. So you can do a texture LOD, which is a level of detail. So you pass in the level of detail that you want, and then it'll give you back the information corresponding to that level of detail. So this is just a very simple shader that has a height map value passed in and a level of detail. So I'm just trying to figure out how we get that level of detail. And so on this node 2D, I've got this very basic script here that calls this map generator, which is what I was working on. And I pass in the cog image, and it gives me back a height map, and I'm passing that into the shader, and setting that in the shader. And then every frame, I'm just updating the level of detail thing to be based on the mouse's X position on the screen. And this is where things started going wrong for me. So hopefully there's someone who knows something about Godot in the chat, because I don't know what's going on. But so I'll show you the bitmap generator. And in fact, I'm just going to undo this and put this back in. So, see, this is, I can't get this error message to stay on the screen long enough for me to read it. I got to try and catch it with the mouse, but then it still disappears. But I think it's complaining about, I've got this GLSL file here which it doesn't like, but it's a compute shader. So we'll get to that in a minute. But just so you can see, the image is getting passed into the shader, so that's good. And then if I open up that shader again, and I instead make it based on the level of detail float that I'm passing in, we can see that as my mouse moves, the level of detail is indeed getting updated. So both of these are getting passed in. Now, where it gets confusing is I've got this generate mipmaps function here. And essentially what I was doing is I'm actually ignoring the image that's getting sent in. I'm just using its width and height for the moment. And I was filling it in as basically as red. And then I figure out how many levels of detail we need, like how many mipmaps we need. And then for each one of these, I was basically just creating a new image that was meant to be a different color using this from HSV thing. So it should shift the hue as we get towards the number of levels. So I should get a rainbow effect here because each mipmap is a different color. So then what I'm doing is I'm using this thing here, create from data, which should create an image from this data that I've created, which I'm appending to, by the way. I'm getting the data out of this image that I've just created. The reason this has got input equals output and stuff is because when I get into the compute shaders, that was relevant. But I've commented I'm not even doing the compute shader stuff at the moment. I'm just trying to get the mipmaps to be in the shader at all. So yes, so I create, I think this will be a red image at the start. And then as we go through each mipmap level, it should be a different hue, which should be rainbow colors. Should be rainbow colors. And then that data gets appended into this data array, and then all of that data gets shoved into this new mipmap image. And this true here, where is it? Use mipmaps. So I've got that set to true. And then I basically return this new image texture. And so that's what is being put into the shader material. So when I run this, actually, no, I need to put this back to outputting. So as you can see, I'm using that level of detail uniform in the texture load function to get that level of detail from the height map I'm passing in, and I get that color and I output that color. So we should get, as I move my mouse to the right, it should be rainbows. But as you can see, it just stays red. And I don't know why. So if anyone's got any ideas, please let me know. I would love to know why this is going on. But it just stays red, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. The only thing I could find was, let me get this up. I can stop running that. Here, textures created with create from image are ignoring custom mipmaps, but this is a closed issue. And it was opened in 2022, and I think it was fixed last year, like a year and a half ago. And it says that it's merged in. So I think the issue was there was something getting called behind the scenes where the image was regenerating the mipmaps, so it was just overriding the custom mipmaps, which I believe could be the case because down here, what I've got in two spots. First, when I generate it, I check if the image I've created has mipmaps, and it does, as you can see here, and how many mipmaps it has using this get mipmap count, and it says it's got 8. Which checks out because I've calculated that the total number of levels I need is 9, but that's including the original scale image. So ignoring that one, we have 8 mipmaps. And so it's saying it's got mipmaps and it's saying it's got the correct number of them. But when we run this, we don't get anything. So I don't really know I don't really know what to do about it. So if anyone knows anything about this, now would be the time to come forward with that information and share it with the group. And while you're doing that, I'm just going to quickly take my jumper off because I'm getting way too hot, and I think that's something that you probably don't need to see. So bear with me. Oh. All right, much better. I also just realized that I didn't have my light on, so sorry if I've been sitting in the dark. I also have realized that my cup of tea has been sitting here going cold. So, ugh. Oh yeah, it's gone way too cold. I usually drink my tea like at the temperature where it is just not burning my mouth. Probably isn't a good thing, but I don't know. It tastes better that way. I don't know. HSV looks strange. Also, oh, uh, it's actually I on the number of levels. Sorry. Okay, I got to get through this. The mouse position passed along correctly. Yeah. So if I go back to the shader here, so that this level of detail one is the one that we want, and if I use that as the color, and I run this, the color does change as the mouse position is changing. So that's not the issue, I believe. And I'm dividing it by 10 because they're essentially just making it fit in the 0 to 1 scale, whereas this one is expecting like an actual integer value for each level it goes deeper. And then, so the HSV thing is because I want each bitmap level to be a different color, just so I know that it's actually working properly. And so this isn't 1 divided by the number of levels. It's this I from the for loop. So as we go deeper, this should go up towards 1. And from what I read, HSV, wants a value between 0 and 1. So basically, as the bitmap levels go deeper, it should create a color that is going through the rainbow. And so I was expecting as I move my mouse, this should be showing me each different bitmap level. And it, as you can see, it's just staying very much red, which makes me wonder if I. Okay, so here's another weird thing. If I instead of just using the red image that I was creating up here, and I use the actual image, which is the cog height map, and if I run this, it also doesn't change when I move my mouse back and forwards, despite it saying that it's got bitmaps. So if it had regenerated the bitmaps by itself, I would have expected this to like blur as I moved my mouse. So I don't know. I don't know. Alpha saying I should microwave my tea. Honestly, not a bad shout. I might go and do that because it's a bit miserable drinking like lukewarm tea. I find it really weird how with drinks, especially like hot and cold drinks. So tea and coffee, you can have it hot or you can have an iced, like there's iced tea and iced coffee. But for some reason, and hot and cold of both of these are like tasty. But for some reason, there's a gap in the middle where if it's room temperature, it's just disgusting. And I don't know why that is. It's really weird. I'll let you ponder that. I'm gonna quickly go and microwave my cup of tea. I'll be back in like 2 seconds. All right. And by the time I'm back, I hope you've figured out how to fix my problem. All right. I'll be back in like a minute. All right, I'm back. I've got a thermonuclear cup of tea. All right, let's see. Yeah, I think I think I might have nuked it a bit too much. Oh, yeah, it's hot. Um, is I on num levels doing integer division? Oh god, I hope not. I really hope not. That would that would be uh that would be something, wouldn't it? Now, if it's already got milk in it, and I don't want to make it too milky because that's another thing I'm a bit precious about is how much milk is in the tea. I can just ignore it again for another half an hour, and we'll I'll let it go cold again, and I can go and microwave it again. Okay, so generate mipmaps. Is this doing integer division? I don't know. How do I? Is this a thing that I can do? Yeah. Okay, I'll try that. If this is it. Oh, hang on. Oh, see that? Yeah, see, it should. I think the fact that it doesn't do it with the cog either means that there's something up. Because when I've got the cog as the first image, and then I'm using the rainbow colors as the second, like as all the mip maps, it should, I think, like this is sus to me that it stays as a cog. But I'll put it back to the color and we'll see if that has fixed anything. Anthony, hello. How you going? Yeah, shit. Okay. So it's still just red. So it's not. Oh, I nearly spilled my tea there. I should put it in a less silly spot. So it's not integer. It's not integer division that is causing the issue. I don't think. Must be something else that's going on, and I'm worried that it's just this create from data somehow, or maybe it's when it gets turned into a image texture. I wonder if I can just So what we're currently working on, I think there's a few more people than there were before. So what we're working on is we're trying to get mip maps working in. I did this whole terrible artwork explaining how we can use mip maps in the in the shader that does the shadows. Hang on, where is it? Here. We can use mip maps to splice up the height map data to create information, like basically a quad tree that tells you in a region of increasing size what the maximum height of the terrain is. And so I got this working in P5.js, but I'm trying to make it work in Godot because P5.js doesn't let me use floating point textures and like import them and stuff. So it's a bit of a nightmare. So we're doing it in Godot, but we can't get the mip map generation working properly. So yeah, the mip maps allow us to know in a bigger and bigger region size, basically we can skip over a whole region if our ray is above the highest point in that region. And so we're trying to generate these in Godot, and it's not letting us. Does integer division caused by a denominator? So yeah, we just had a look at that. I've just put. Oh, is it caused by the? I'll try putting this. Look, I'll put them both in it just to make extra quadruply sure. And if we run this, oh, sorry, yes. So I was. Yeah, I'll get rid of this. Try that again. Yeah, so still not it. Unfortunately. Yeah. So okay. So what I was going to try next thing is instead of turning this image into an image texture, I'm wondering if I can just return the image directly and whether I can pass that straight into here, and then I don't need to do this because it's already an image, and pass that in. Do that. So if we try that, okay, that also doesn't work. Yeah, this is mipping my maps as well, Alf. It's such an annoying issue. I thought this would be the easy part, is getting, because like I thought the bit where I'm generating the height map, like generating the mip maps, would be the tricky part. But actually, just getting access to the mip maps is the difficult bit. So I don't know what's going on. I don't know if this is the best, Anthony. I don't know if this is what you want to watch if you're trying to learn how to code, because I don't think I'm doing anything right. it's all it's all not working. And I'm rapidly running out of ideas. So my only thought is, so this issue here basically says that the thing that I'm using for custom mipmaps doesn't work for custom mipmaps. But I can't find an alternative on how to get these in there. The only thing I did see was that the only thing I saw was, where was it? Here, yeah. So in the original post for this, it was like, can you check if this create from data function does the right thing? Well, so I tried to validate it by, there's this thing here. So after I create it, firstly, the thing I have double checked is that this use mipmap boolean is set to true. And if I get the number of bytes wrong in the data that I'm putting it in, you can, it gives an error because it's expecting a certain number of bytes because you've got this flag set to true and it's expecting the mipmap data. Can you add a breakpoint? Yeah, so I've added some breakpoints before, and it tells me that the data array is empty, is null, right? Which I know for a fact isn't true because I'm printing out the size of the data array here, and as you can see, it's going up as I would expect with the data from the mipmap information. And so, yeah, so the debugger is lying to me here, and if I step over this, mipmap image is an object, but like, I don't know if there's a way of inspecting it more than this object ID, because I'm very new to Godot, so I don't really know what, like, how I can inspect this. I should probably Google it. Might be a good step. So Anthony is asking, is this from? So no. So minimaps, mipmaps are an internal thing. So essentially, what they do, I wish we were making a minimap. It's a very similar name and it's a very similar sounding thing. But essentially, what a mipmap does is, the way it's usually used is, essentially, if you have an image that you want to use as, say, like a texture on a, say you've got a brick texture for the side of the building. If that building's really far away in the scene, but you're using a really high resolution image for the texture of those bricks, it can look a bit weird. So what normally happens is that if you've got a high resolution image, say like this one here has a 4x4 pixels, a mipmap, we can generate mipmaps which are lower resolution versions of the same image. So we'll go from a 4x4 image like this into a 2x2 image. And the normal way mipmaps work is that they get blurred, so that each resolution you go down is basically just a scaled down version of the image. And so if you use that texture for something really far away, you can use a lower resolution version of that image, and then the texture doesn't look as wonky. But we're hijacking this functionality to be able to put data into the mipmaps, so these lower resolution images, and we're using that to then generate the shadows. So that's what the mipmaps are doing. But we can't, for some reason, get our custom mipmaps in there. And yeah, the debugger doesn't help. Oh, that's cool. Does it help with frames as well? I'm not actually sure if it helps with the frame rate because the data for all the levels of the map is still in there. It might because it's doing less squishing of the texture on the fly, so it actually might help the frame rate. I don't actually know. I should make a map generator in Pico 8. That would be cool. That would be cool. One thing I might just try, just to see if it works, I'm going to go back to the default image, the cogwheel. Can I log data size after the for loop? Yeah, so I do log it during the for loop. Yeah, I can just do this again. I wouldn't have thought that doing it after would change anything, but you never know, do you? You really don't. Post loop data size. I also tried logging the last item to see if it was changing, and actually this was something that was concerning me, was that the last item is always 63. But actually I should get like the second or third. Oh, actually this is a byte array. So I probably want to go to the fifth last one because they're floats, which should be the... Because the alpha channel should always just be on, I guess. And I believe, yeah, so the format is RGBA. Anyway, well, I'll make this some random number and we'll see if it changes. Let this run. Okay, so we're just getting a white image, but that's because I'm directly returning the image. But let's check the output. Okay, so the output is changing now. That's good. So the post loop size, it's definitely got data in there. So I'm not sure what's going on there. Does the map levels each have to be a quarter of the size of the previous one? If so, isn't your res variable off by 1? The highest resolution one is an extra factor of 2 smaller than it needs to be, I think. So we don't go down... Well, it goes down by a quarter in terms of total number of pixels, I believe, but it will be... it will be like 1/4 the total number of pixels, but in terms of side length, like resolution, the width and the height are just divided by 2. Am I passing the data correctly into the function? I hope so. Let me see. So the people on this... Oh, as in, is the data formatted correctly? I think so. I think it's just one big array of all the data. One thing I was going to try is I'm going to go back to this being the image texture, because that, for some reason, when I just use the image, I just get a white output, which is worse somehow than what we had before. I'm going to go back here to this. As in the first iteration of the loop has I equals 1. Hang on, let me have a look at what you're talking about. Okay, so I think this is because I already have the image for the top level highest resolution one, and so then this number of levels... Oh, actually, yeah, I think you're right. I can probably just... Yeah, let me do this. Print res, and then I'll also print image dot get height. Sure. And I'll just double check that these are what I'm expecting. So this first one is printing this one here. It's 256, and then it's 128, 64, 32, 16. I think that's right. I think it's just a bit of a janky bit of maths, because I'm wanting this number of levels to be the total number, including this top level one, but then I'm excluding it again here. And so when I'm getting that there are 9 levels. So there's 8 mipmaps plus the highest resolution one. And then as I'm going through this, to get the new resolution, I need to subtract I from the number of levels. But I think there's just because this is the total number, but I don't know. It seems to work. It seems to work. I think these are printing out the right numbers. So I think the resolutions are all correct. I think it's just a bit confusing because this number of levels is one more than the log. And so then I need to subtract an extra one when I am going back the other way. I think basically the upshot of all this is that I could remove this +1 and then have the +1 in here, and then I could also get rid of the +1 here. And in fact, maybe that's a better way of doing it. Let's do like this. And I think we should get the exact same result in the output. Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Maybe that's probably a cleaner way of doing it. If Nick was here, he would approve of that. Okay. So in the debugger, what is going on? Oh, so yeah, sorry. I was going to try. There was one last thing that I was thinking I could try. I'm going to remove this breakpoint because it's annoying me. But what I'm going to try is instead of doing any custom stuff, just see if it works. Oh, don't want to get rid of all that. But just see if it works with return image.get. Hang on. What am I inputting? So texture 2D. Okay, so So what I want to try is if I do oh my gosh. So inaccurate with my mouse strikes today. So if I create the image from the image that we're getting input, why doesn't it like that? Why doesn't it like that? Don't know why it doesn't like that. I'm just going to go on and pretend it doesn't exist. So what I want to try is if I go input dot, I think that, yeah, generate mipmaps. Oh, it's because I can't spell return. Thanks, Simon. Yeah, I just saw it. Bloody hell. Shocking. Okay, so I'm using their inbuilt mipmap generation. And so now I would expect that as the level of detail changes, it should get blurrier, right? But that doesn't look like it's changing at all. So a mipmap's just not not a thing in the shaders in Godot. I don't know. Like, that's not changing at all. Ay. Because this is literally here. I'm gonna move this up the top so we can actually see. This is what the function is now doing. Is it's taking an image, it's generating mipmaps with the built-in generator, and then returning it, and then it just it doesn't work. I have tried. So yesterday when I was trying to get this all working, I did try a bit of Googling, but I will do some more because if you can't get mipmaps, see, I think let's see, Godot shading language mip. maps. Yeah, you can see most of these links have been clicked. Oh, this is in like some setting stuff. Hang on. But so in here, I think texture LOD. Perform a texture read at custom mipmap. The LOD defines which mipmap level is used. An LOD value of 0 will use the full resolution texture. If the texture lacks mipmaps, all LOD values will act like 0. So this would imply to me, it certainly appears, I'll put it this way, it appears as if everything is at mipmap level 0. Which would imply, based on this definition, if the texture lacks mipmaps, all LOD values will act like 0. That would imply to me that there's no mipmaps being passed in. But the image that I'm passing in, I'm checking if it has mipmaps, and it's alleging that it's true. Yeah, so I am printing that out here. 2001. Does that mean you were born in 2001? That makes me feel old. Yeah, so I'm printing out if it has mipmaps and the mipmap count. And it's saying that it does have mipmaps and that it does have 8 of them, which is how many I would expect. So that's confusing. That's very confusing. So maybe it's a settings thing. I haven't really delved into the... Yeah, let's have a look. Let me figure out where this was meant to be. I did open something up that looked like something like this. Rendering textures. Rendering textures. Advanced settings. That's me. I'm advanced. All right. Then what was it saying? Oh, it's saying that it's not very effective. You can use texture LOD and do you specify the mipmap level? I'm trying that, brother, and it ain't working. Okay, let's see if there's anything in here that's helpful. If any of you spot something that's helpful, please shout at me in the chat. Oh gosh. So I don't want to bias. That's not what I want. I just want mipmaps at all would be nice. Is there a way in the shader to figure out how many mipmaps you've got? Here we go. Get the number of accessible mipmap levels of a texture. Yes, this is what we want. Texture query levels. Okay. So this should let us know inside the shader how many levels we've got access to. And so I will output that. Why am I doing capitals? Spec 4. So I want, what does it return? An int. So I want float numlods equals float of this for our height map. And that should tell us how many levels of detail there are. So I'm just going to do this, numlods. So I would expect this to be white because there should be at least one, but what I'll do... Oh, why doesn't it like that? Why did it let it run? But it oh my god, 234 errors. Let's go back here. Why didn't it like that? Oh, I still can't spell, apparently. um, okay, so if I run this now, so I am expecting it to be white, so that makes sense because I think the default level is at least 1, so it should be white, so that's good. But now if I divide this by, I'll do by 10 again, we should still expect it to be nearly white, which it is. So because there's 8 bitmaps, and so if I divide this by 8, it should be white. And it is. Okay. So so what we've learned is that the texture that I'm passing in has bitmaps, and there are 8 of them. And we are also learning from this, the texture query levels, that there are 8 bitmaps available inside the shader. But what we're also learning is that if we use the texture that we've got, then the level of detail doesn't change. It doesn't it doesn't make sense. Do you know what I will try? Just to be extra super duper pedantic. Oh, keep getting my key bindings wrong. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the level of detail divided by the number of LODs, just for a sanity check. And again, to make sure that this level of detail parameter is actually being changed. And we are also going to be using the number of levels of details available in the height map image that we're passing in. And so what this tells us is that the value that we're using to query the level of details is changing with the mouse, as we would hope, and that there are 8 bitmaps being passed in to the shader with the texture. But for some reason, outputting that value just doesn't work. It doesn't work, and I don't know why. Like, that's not changing at all, I don't think. Like, that's not changing as I move this, is it? Because it should in theory, as I get all the way to the right here, it should just be a single pixel image. So don't know what's going on. I really don't. Godot's doing me dirty. I thought this was like the Holy Land. I thought Godot was meant to be some blessed place. Can I show the shader again? Yes, of course I can. So I'm using the texture LOD with the height map and the UV coordinate, and I'm passing in my level of detail, which we just confirmed does actually change as I move my mouse across the screen, and I'm getting that color, and I'm literally just outputting it. So it should be... is it supposed to be between 0 and 1 or a number of details? I'll double check that, but I believe I believe that it's supposed to be the what's it called? The actual level. So I don't know if they actually specify here. No, but if you look at the GLSL version, which is what the Godot shader language is based on, and what I do actually in here when I'm successfully using the level of detail. Let's see. Where is it? Texture LOD level, and let's see where I use this. Oh gosh, that was not a smart way of doing it. I get the height with the level. The level goes up or goes down by a whole integer. Like, it goes down by 1 each time. So this one is expecting the level of detail. Where did I see it? I've definitely seen it written that texture load, like the level of detail should be the actual like integer. And if you use a float, it'll do like some interpolation between the two. So maybe I should try. Look, I'll try this just for the funsies. I'll try doing that first. Okay, that did nothing. Actually, I think I'm already rounding it here. But so I'll try doing. I will try. Do this up here, and I will try that, and I won't floor it. So I'll try doing it between 0 and 1, and we'll see if that makes a difference. If this is it, okay, yeah, no difference. Isn't this just fun? This is so fun. I love programming so much. It's brilliant. I am very appreciative of all of the suggestions, by the way. So do keep them coming if you got any thought at all, because I'm pretty much dry with ideas. So if you've got any ideas of what could be going on, please, no matter how silly they are, let them out. I would really appreciate it. Because sorry, I keep forgetting that I'm zoomed in. I'm really sorry about that. I've got some new hotkeys, and I'm still very unpracticed with. I'm good at zooming in, I think, but it's the zooming out that always gets me. So I'm sorry if you couldn't see that shader the whole time. Just let me know if you can't see what I'm talking about on the screen, please, and then I'll remember to zoom back out. Okay. Right. So, yeah, I'm at a bit of a loss as to what is going wrong here, because I think we've basically tried everything that we can try. Well, I'm sure there's something that we can try that we're not doing, but we're not aware of it yet, which makes it very hard to actually try it because we're not aware of it. Yeah, sorry, I forgot to zoom out. Isn't your LOD variable just 0 to 1 though? Oh yeah, sorry, yeah, you've just seen the times 8. So yeah, this is going between 0 and 8. Try adding the uniform. So yeah, this was something that I was very confused about in my Googling, was the hints. So Godot lets you do this thing where you can add some hints to uniforms. I'm going to try, and I basically just didn't know what the hell they were, so I just left them alone. So how do you do it? It's like that or something? Let me see. Do they have an example of... Oh, so it should be underscore. Hint. Is that right? Something like that. Do they have an example? I'm sure they've got, like baby's first shader somewhere. I've definitely seen that somewhere, and where is it? Your first shader. That's what we want. Because I think they use hints in this, so I just want to make sure that I'm using it correctly. They don't do it here. That's fine. I don't even mind. There was screen reading shaders. I think that's where I've seen it. Hint screen. Oh, so should this just be? It should just be like this. Is that right? Yeah. So only some hints have the hint prefix, which is just dandy. All right. Ooh. That genuinely looks like it's getting blurry. Okay, I'm going to zoom in And if I don't zoom out, let me know. But that looks like it's getting blurrier. Or am I going crazy? I think that's working. If that's it, I'm going to be so mad. Oh, and this is because... Oh, shit. So I'm still... Oh, no. If this is it... Oh, my God. We've done it. 2001 Herney, you're a champion. You're an absolute champion. Look at that. Dearie me. Okay. So that's... Okay, this is it working with the default generated bitmaps. So, I'm going to remove this. And we're going to go back to the color bitmaps. And we'll see if that works. Oh. Yes. 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 Thank you so much, 2001. Ernie, wow. Who would have thought? The Simp Zone, thanks for hanging out, mate. I really appreciate it. Hope you have a good sleep. And yeah, fuck, that's so good. All right. I can't believe that... So I need to understand why that works, because I don't understand why that's the thing that did it. Filter texture. So why? What is it by default? I guess it doesn't really matter. We've got progress. We're on the right track. This is so good. All right, so I think now we can actually get to the cool stuff, which is the compute shader that is doing the bitmap generation, which I think I already... If this works, it'll be a complete miracle because I did it, and as you can see, I couldn't see the bitmaps it was generating. So I think the default seems to be just don't. Yeah, it seems like it, doesn't it? It's like if you haven't specifically... Even though the bitmaps are sitting there waiting to be used, they're just like, you don't need to worry about that. Okay, let's have a look. We're making glorious progress. This is great. Comment that out. I can probably comment out a whole bunch of these random print statements. So now what we're doing is we've got the output. So for each bitmap level, I'm creating an output image. And then, okay, I need to explain. I got this... There's this Compute Shader Plus plugin. Oh, no, I don't want to do that. I've already downloaded it. So it's this add-on that has some very handy things for... Oh, shit, I'm still zoomed in. Oh, my God. Sorry. I'm going to stop zooming in because that way I can't forget to zoom out. One day I'll get good at it. I guess it should... Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to forget about it. I'm just so glad that it's working. I'm just so happy about that. Okay. So for generating the bitmaps, I'm going to be using a compute shader. And I was trying to raw dog this and do it myself, but it turns out there's a Compute Shader Plus plugin that is so handy. So yeah, check that out. I think if you just search, as you can see, I managed to click caps lock during my search for this. I can't believe the search is still there. That's embarrassing. I'm going to get rid of that. But yeah, if you just search for Compute Shader Plus, then you will get it. I did have to... How do I get out of the asset lib? There we go. I did have to modify... Because I think the one in the asset lib is behind the one on GitHub. I'll see if I can find it, actually. Can close these. Oh, that feels so good to close that. So it was Compute Shader Plus. So I was having this issue where I was basically just getting an error, and they have done a fix for it. Here? No, not here. Where is it? Where's the code commits? Here we go. This is what we want. So yeah, basically just had to add this thing in. And so on the GitHub, it's updated, but in the asset lib in Godot, for some reason, it's behind. So I did have to go in to, which file was it? image format helper. I did have to go in here, and I basically just copied their fix in here, and that has let it work to some extent, but I haven't been able to test it because the mip maps were not... oh shit, did not mean to do that. Whoops. Oh well. Well, let's see. We had this one open and map generator. So basically what this allows me to do is very easily interact with the compute shaders rather than having to do it all myself. There's just a compute helper. So we can create an image input based on the input, which is at the beginning is our original image that we're getting in. And we've got an output created from the output image that we've just made. And then we can create this shared, where is this? Yes, a shared image uniform. And I think that's what you need to be able to like manipulate it from the compute shader and then extract it again. The compute shader stuff is very new to me, by the way, if you couldn't tell. But so essentially we're setting up some inputs and outputs into our compute shader, and we're adding them in to our compute shader, and then we're running that compute shader and getting the output image from that and storing it as the next input. So you can see we're basically chaining through these until we get to the lowest level, and then any data from that input image that we get, we're putting into our data array that's going into our map. So actually I should show you. This is the compute shader. Basically, I stole this from their example online. Well, I stole the format of it, but then this stuff here, I'm not sure that this is going to work at all. But basically, what we're trying to do is read from the input texture here and get the maximum value from it and store that in the image that is the output texture. And this is essentially the same thing as what I was doing over here in this one, in the P5.js version, but this is just using normal images and stuff rather than trying to mess around with compute shaders. That's what this is doing. And so we're going to run this, and we're going to see what happens. Oh, you know what? This might actually... Surely this is not working. It seems wonky because I think... when we were doing this before, was it shrinking in size like that? Because that seems potentially problematic, unless there's... Yeah, that seems problematic. That seems problematic. Because I would imagine that it would have stayed in place. Like it... Oh, you know what? I think it might be shrinking like twice as fast as it's meant to. So the reason... There's been a bit of, scuffed programming here, because if we compare these... Just going to shut that. There we go. Oh. So if we, compare these... I don't know how well you can see all this. But so this shader here on the left is using just a normal image and a vector that tells me the resolution of that image. And when you get the image, it's expecting a normalized value. So it goes between 0 and 1, which means it's very easy to go from one image that's a different resolution to another image, to be able to use that UV across two images of different sizes. And I think that's why they do it. But in the new one, in the compute shader, we're not working with normalized values anymore, and we're instead working with the actual pixel positions, kind of, I think. Because we've got this position, which is the current... It's basically like the fragment position, but it's the position within the compute shader invocation that we're doing. So in here, we get to tell the compute shader how many work groups there are. And so essentially each work group is run in parallel, basically like a fragment. The thing is, though, you can go one level deeper, and inside a work group you can have a local invocation, but I've just made them all one because I don't really know what they mean. So I'm just ignoring them for now. And we've got the resolution that we're at is the number of work groups there are. So my understanding, and this could be very incorrect understanding, but my understanding is that this work group, basically the global invocation ID, is where we are in the work group, which should go between 0 and the resolution in both the X and the Y. So that should give us our position. And then the number of work groups should be this vector here that has our resolution. So we know the size of our image that we're generating, and hang on, where is it? We know the size of the image that we're generating, and we know the position in the image that we're generating. And now we just need to figure out, using that information, where we were in the previous generation, like which 4 pixels we are trying to average in the new generation. And my worry is, because I've been doing some weird stuff in here, that I'm probably, I think those times by 2 are looking very suspicious. And it means that we're scaling down twice instead of just once. That's my thinking. The reason I did the times by 2, by the way, is because in the original one, this resolution that I'm passing in is actually the resolution of the higher level one, because that ended up being easier for the maths, I think. Let me just double check that I'm not telling fibbies. Where is it? Down the bottom here. Yeah, so the maths was easier in the shader if I had the resolution of the higher resolution bitmap instead of the lower resolution one. So that's why I times it by 2 here. But so in this one, I was just timesing it by 2 in the shader, which I don't think is probably actually what we want to be doing. I might have to do some diagramming again in Paint to figure out what's going on. So brace yourselves for some more mouse art. So I think what's happening, basically, I'm gonna be nice to you all, and I'm gonna use the actual. So let's say got like this, and we've got like this. Okay, so what we've got. Actually, I'm gonna do higher resolution on this side, and I think it will make more sense if we have it more than a 1x1 pixel. I don't know why I'm trying to be so neat all of a sudden, but it'll be worth it. It'll be worth it. Okay. Despite trying to be neat, it is horribly wonky. But so let's say, so this is the high resolution one, obviously, and this is the lower resolution one. And so we have this information inside this input texture, and we're writing to the output texture. Now, this position we've got is going to be one of these. Hang on, that's a 1, 0, 0, 1. That is a terrible one. And a 1, 1. Okay? So we've got the actual integer values. And we need to figure out for position 0, 0, which pixels in the higher resolution map to this one. And so this would be 0, 0. Why did I do the comma first? 1, 0, 0, 1, 1, 1. You know what? I'm going to be fancy, and I'm going to use the text thing. So this is 0, this is 1, 0, 2, 0. Okay, this might have been a mistake. I'm going to do 2 rows just because I think that will be helpful. Because I'm going to do not the top left corner one because I think that's probably an edge case where the maths is actually easier. But I think some random one towards like the middle somewhere will be more complicated. So I'm going to do that just so that I can double check that the maths is all fallen out correctly. Jeez, I cannot type. 3-1. Okay, so what we've got is okay. Let's look at this one. So 1-0 is what we've got, and we need to figure out 2-0, 3-0, 2-1, 3-1. Okay, so let's see. We've got our position, which is 1-0, and we've also got our resolution, which is 2-2, because that resolution is just the size of this image. So by extension, we know that the previous resolution is just 2 times this. I'm going to make it blue because it's a different thing. So we know that this is 4-4. Right. Okay. I feel like there's probably a really simple way to figure this out. Because I guess the top left corner is always going to be just twice this, right? Is that right? I think that's right. Oh, cool, Half. Are you doing that in the Pico 8? Are you doing that? That's cool. I think I'm assuming, are you doing it all in just like a big for loop? Because I can imagine that might take a while, but that's cool if that's what you're doing. Okay, so where were we? So this, is it true that you literally just double this to get the top left corner one? And then you just add 1 in both directions. I think it is, right? Shared in the... Oh, have a look. Sorry, I shut Discord because I didn't want to bait people with like the noises of messages coming through. Let's have a look. Oh, cool. Dude, that looks sick. Yeah, I'll show it on the... Actually, no, I just turned off streamer mode. I don't want to dox anyone. But that's really cool. Oh, yeah. Yeah. That works. Cool. That's really sick. That's really sick. I approve. Yeah, Pico 8 doesn't have shaders. I didn't think it would. I can't believe that you've managed to make this in the Pico 8. Use the screenshot. Yeah, that's really cool, dude. I like that a lot. Okay, so where were we? I was drawing a terrible image. I'm sorry that I've been drawing so many shit images. Like, look at this. What a treat. Whoa. So I just need to confirm that my intuition about this is right. So if I was looking at this one and I doubled it, I would get 2-2. And I believe that is correct. Okay, so maybe my times 2 isn't so shockingly bad, but I think I'm way overcomplicating the maths here. Let's have a look. So, sorry, I'm moving around all about the place. So I think, so this position is in the lower resolution one. Oh dear, did not mean to click that. Sorry, where was I? Position. So yeah, this is the lower resolution position. So then our high res position, high res pos, is literally just the pos times 2. And then I don't need to do any of this garbage. So it's actually way easier than having it normalized, which kind of makes sense. So this we just want the top left is just the high res position. The top right is the high res plus. You know what, I'm going to do some swizzling garbage. So ivec2 offset equals ivec2 0 1. So we want offset, and we want. You know what? I'm actually going to, because it's a bit, I always find it a bit confusing when I do something like this. So I'm going to put 0 in the Z, because Z and 0, like that. And that just makes it a bit less confusing, because then I can use, so we're offsetting in the X, but 0 in the Y. And then the bottom left will be an offset in the X. Wait, hang on. Bottom left. No excess offset. Oh my, having a stroke. No offset in the X, but an offset in the Y. And then this will be an offset in the X and the Y. And I think that's it. Surely not. Could it be so simple? We're about to find out. Run this. Ho, look at that. Now it doesn't... Is it taking the max? It's kind of hard to say, because this is a very grayscale image. I wonder if I can... Okay. This is going swimmingly, except for that hiccup, obviously, right at the start. This is going all very well. So what I'm going to try to do is move this in the Z a little bit. Actually, you know what? I'm going to scale it in the Z so that we get more variation. Let's have a look in the layout. Oh, okay, that's a funky looking gear. That ain't what a gear should look like. Yeah, it does look like it's kind of doing the max, but it's kind of hard to tell because everything's sort of a very similar shade of grey. But yeah, the black band around the middle and around the edges of the cogwheel, they definitely do disappear. It's just a very underwhelming. Is there a way to normalize it? I would need to know the maximum height of this model. And I don't think I do want to normalize it in the long run, because if you have models that you purposefully want different heights, like say you've got, I don't know, like a little turret versus a big turret in your 2D top-down tower defense, you want to preserve that height. So I don't think I do want to normalize it, unless you also somehow passed in the max height, and then having a normalized thing could be handy, I guess. But I think I'll probably just keep it that whatever the data is from the image is what will be kept, because then I think if you're say just like creating a whole bunch of models in Blender and you just output them all, it should just use that data. But yeah, okay, so let's have a look. So this, if I export this, Alt-Shift-S, and I'm going to put this, yes, I'm going to just override it. Ha 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 ha. Alright, shut that, save that, shut that, that's all good. So now this should be a brighter image. Yeah. And yeah, I think that's good. I think that's working. This is good. This is very good. We are on track, I think. So now what we need to do is we need to actually take the shadow generating stuff and port it over to Godot. So this should be interesting. Should be very interesting. Let's see how we go. Oh, sorry. I left Discord open and I've just baited you all with a sound. We've got an update. We've got an update. I'm going to open it up. How do I do that again? Open a browser. Here we go. Nice. Yeah, this is good. This is good. You're doing well. You're doing very well. I really love the colors of this, by the way. Is this literally just like the 8-bit version of the colors? Because I always struggle with color palettes. It's the bane of my existence. But this is really cool. I approve. I don't know what authority I have to give approval, but I give it. We have an HD to pixel yeah. Okay, actually, I can update this to now say port shadow shader to Godot. Because we have officially done the bitmap generation. That is so good. All right. So now we can just focus on this shader here. You know what? I think you can pop this out, can't you? That might be helpful. Yes, good. Because what I'm going to do, I'm going to pop this on the side here, and then I'm going to open up. Where is it? Where is it? Yeah. And I'm actually not going to use this one. I think I'm going to use one of these two. Doesn't really matter, I don't think. Because this has got like a slightly stripped back version of the shadow shader. Because in the one with the actual island and everything, it's doing more than it should because it's getting the colors and it's doing the waves and it's doing all sorts of stuff. But we can now just have a look at this and try and get it working in Godot. Okay. Right. It's a Pico 8 palette. I should steal that. I've tried for my game. I'm trying to use what's it called? It's like Endesga. It's a really nice palette, but I think the problem is the palette is only half the equation. I think you got to know how to use the palette as well, and I don't have that half of the equation. But I think what's it called? Low spec or something like that. Low spec. This is a great place for finding palettes, but like I say, you got to be able to use them as well. I think it's like Sega, not Endesga. Nope. Oh well, can't find it. It was definitely in here, but I'm gonna have a quick look at the Pico 8 palette. Yeah, that's really nice. That is a nice palette. But yeah. And yeah, sorry, I just can't spell. Oh, I'll try and I think it's the 64 color one. Yeah, here we go. This is it. See, this is the thing. They always bait you on these things because they have this amazing pixel art, and you're like, yeah, if I use this palette, I'll be able to do pixel art like that. But you can't because, well, I can't because I'm not a very good artist. But yeah, this is the palette that I often use. But yeah, I'm not that good at art, so it doesn't look like that. But that's okay. We've got another. Ooh, what's this palette? I like this palette. I should probably turn the sound off for Discord, sorry, so that you don't get triggered all the time. That's cool. I really like that palette. That's cool. Thanks for sharing. Yeah. I don't know how to say the name. Endesga? I keep wanting to say Sega. Like, you know what I mean. But Endesga. I struggle with names for some reason. But yeah, very cool guy. Very cool for sharing that. Anyway, this is completely off topic. As nice as these colors are, we are here to port this over. Whoa, that's a cool bit of artwork. Sorry, if you don't know what's going on, in the Discord, which should be linked in the description, I think, if you want to join in the chat, we're getting some cool art. Can I show this on the stream? Zill, is that how you say your name? Hope so. Let me know if I can show that, because that's an amazing bit of art. You can show it. Yeah, cool. That is sick. Let me get it up. Look at this. That is sick. See, if I could do that, I feel like if you can draw this though, you can also make your own palette, which you have done, obviously. Uh, yeah, that's sick. That is really cool. Man, one day, if I keep grinding my art skills, maybe I'll get there. But I don't know if you can tell, but we're a long way from that. Yeah, I've muted it at like a system level. That was probably not the smartest thing to do, but I'll just have to try and remember to turn it back on. And I don't know if I would classify myself as a cool or popular streamer. I think we got 5 people. I appreciate every single one of you though, so thank you for hanging out. Um, but yeah, I might look into that muting Discord uh, in the future. But yeah, for the moment, I've literally just like turned it off on Windows. So, but yes, back to it. We are trying to port this shader into Godot. So let's see what we can do. I'm glad you're having fun. The start, I'm not going to lie, the start was a bit stressful because I was like, oh, this is not going to be fun to watch me just losing my mind about the mip maps not showing up. But we got over that hurdle and we're there. We got, oh, yeah. I'll show you. Sorry, get up the Mario redraw. There's actually some really cool stuff in the showcase. Here we go. We got Mr. Buff Bowser. Look at that. That is one buff. You would not want to mess with him, would you? Whew, Jesus. Look at that. Look at the pecs on him. He'd rip you apart. So good. Yeah, there's some the people in the Discord are like so talented that I often forget that like I can't sorry, I'm just trying to find Discord again. Here we go. Yeah, there's some crazy stuff in there. I've got to open the chat. I got too many windows open. We're getting there. I can't believe this is making you want to learn Godot. I need to learn to use it properly as well because I mean, I've tried doing some stuff with it, but I feel like by doing this shader stuff, I'm avoiding using the actual Godot stuff. So I don't know if what you're seeing is like the typical workflow. From what I have tinkered with it a little bit, and from what I can tell, it is quite cool. But I'm so ingrained in the doing things from the code mindset that I always forget that you can do things with like clicking your mouse and stuff. You know, like over in this panel, you can actually do stuff that isn't in the code. And I always forget that. And it throws me off. Every time I've tried to learn to use an engine, it annoys me that I can't just do things in code. And I think most of the time you can do things in code, but it's like set up so that you don't have to do it in code. And I always forget that. All right, let's try and do this shader. Okay, so this get height function that I've got, I don't really need to do that anymore because I'll just be looking up the texture. Yeah, I'll just be looking up the texture. So that is cool, and I don't need the unpacking anymore either. You know, okay, I'm just going to do this for the moment. I'm just going to copy and paste it in, and we'll see how much of it breaks. Actually, that's probably a bad idea because this is a different format. Okay, we're not going to do that. Abort, mission abort. We're going to do it step by step. Game Maker and Pico 8 have been amazing. Yeah, see, I think my ultimate solution will probably be some sort of framework rather than a full-blown engine. Godot does seem really cool. Like I think you can pretty much just hook into it purely from code. And I think you can do it in like C# and all sorts of different languages. So I need to investigate that a bit more because it does seem really cool. But there are other frameworks, of course, as well, where you're just doing things with code, but they've done a lot of the heavy lifting for you. But yeah, doing things from scratch, it definitely hits different. There's something about it that's just like really, really fun. Anyway, enough procrastinating. I need to actually put this shader to use. I am I think I will make a get height function just because it wraps up the level of detail, because I've got a height with a level and just a normal height, which kind of makes sense to me. Get height vec2 pos. You know, I can copy this bit. Oops, do that. And then we can get rid of the unpack. And we just return, I think we're just going to use the red channel. Why does that not like it? Pos height map. That's why. Height map. That's going to be an annoying change. So then get height. Why doesn't it like this? Oh, you can't do overloading? Oh, no. Oh, what's the point? What's the point? All right. We're just going to use the level of detail, I think. Okay, we don't need that function. Get rid of it. So what are we passing in? We've got the height map. So this is the number of levels of details, but as it turns out, we don't need to pass that in because we can query that. So that's good. Color map. See, okay, so this is another thing. I think I should separate the shadow generation from the drawing of the colors. So maybe we'll just look at doing the shadows for now and ignore the colors. Height mod we don't need. Millis, I don't think I actually use that in this one. No, good. We will do a uniform. Oh, I'm just going to copy this like that. I think I can get rid of that as well. It's going to have a whinge, yes. So yeah, we can pass in the lighting information here. Then we've got a uniform vec3. I can also copy this. Okay, pixel size. Do I use this? I do for the normals. Do I actually use the minimum step size now in the new one? I do. Okay, all right. I will pass that in, but there might be a way of querying that as well. I'm going to ignore that for the moment. 3 short questions. Okay, so am I using multiply blend mode for the shadows? In the new version, I probably will, because I am going to separate out the color and the shadow information. In the old one, I was passing in a color map as well as the height map, and then I was doing stuff to combine the lighting with the colors in this one shader, and it would spit it all out as one thing. So I guess technically it was, yes, using multiply blend mode, but it wasn't really a blend mode because I was doing it myself in the shader. Do I like Godot so far? I am happy that I'm able to use the like floating point textures and stuff in it. That's very cool. I haven't really been doing the typical Godot stuff with it. So all I've got is a canvas layer with a color rect in it, and then everything else is being done in shaders pretty much. So I don't know if it's fair for me to judge Godot just yet, because I've only seen a very, very small niche part of it. But from what I'm seeing, it's good. And I can say this, I have at various points used things like Unity, not for very long, but that took like a bajillion years for me to download it, especially on the crappy Australian internet. It took so long to download it, and then it took forever to open it up and run it. Whereas Godot just like is snappy as. I will say that it's really nice from that point of view. But yeah, I'm not sure that I can really judge Godot just yet because it's a bit early and I've only really been interacting with the shader stuff. If you didn't see the start of the stream, we were pulling our hair out trying to figure out this issue, and it came down to this hint thing, which is not a standard GLSL feature. And so that was a bit frustrating, but it's just because I don't know it well enough, I think, basically. And I now know for the future. But yeah, it's going well, I think, so far. It's good. It's good. But I'm sure as I get to know it more, we'll figure out more. Okay, so what did I decide? I decided that yes, I do need the pixel normalized pixel size. But I feel like there's a way of getting that. So I might skip that for the moment and copy these ones in instead. Okay. And then the position and the color are handled by the UV and the color here. So I can just ignore that, which is good. Can ignore these. I'm going to ignore the normal for now and just do the actual shadow algorithm. So, yes. So what we can do, it would be handy to have a get height function. I think it would. Maybe I just need to name them two different things. Get height at level. Just going to do that. And then I can pass in get height at level here. And that doesn't need unpack. And we're just going to look at the red channel for the height. I think this probably means, because at the moment, it's a bit wasteful. When I'm generating the bitmaps, I'm using a full-blown RGBA floating point, whereas I think I can probably just use like an R float. But that will be something to look at in the future. Looking forward to what you do with Godot. Cool, yeah. Oh, launching an indie studio with your mates would be, that's like, I think that's everyone's dream. So that sounds really cool. So yeah, I hope it goes well for you. That's sick. And I'm glad that you think I'm an inspiration. I don't know how I've managed to do that, but I appreciate it. Thank you. All right, so let's have a look here and here. I've got so many windows open. I might just quickly shut some things because I got too much going on. Wigging me out. All right. I think I can shut all of this as well. Makes it simpler. Okay. We might say goodbye to these beautiful paintings. I don't think they're serving any purpose any longer. So I'm gonna close that as well. I don't know if anyone else is like this, but I get like, if there's too many windows, I'm a compulsive closer of windows. Even like tabs in Chrome and stuff, if there's too many of them, get rid of them. Sorry, Half, I've already destroyed them. Yeah, I get, if there's too many tabs open, I don't know if it's like getting overwhelmed. Maybe it is getting overwhelmed, but it's just like clutter, you know? I don't know. I like being able to just like have everything in its place. For future happiness, no happiness. I can look back on the stream and I can screenshot it and recreate it in all its glory if I really am that desperate for the glory days. Now, why is this? Oh yes, we've already been through this because I've respelt height map differently. Okay, so that's good. That's good. So what we need is vec3. So the original position, I'm going to call it OP. I'm going to keep it the same. Is a new vec3 with our current UV. Oops, I can't type. As well as the current height at our current position. Good. We've got some new stuff in the. Oh yeah, okay, yeah. I like this a lot. the startup sequence, doing stuff like this is like so much fun. Adding those little details in, I love it so much. Yeah, that's cool. That's very cool. You're carrying this stream with the visual interest, because the stuff I'm doing so far is mostly just staring at code. So thank you for supplying some much needed spice into the equation. All right, so that generates our original position, which is at the pixel position that we're starting at, and the Z is the height of the current position. And then we're also, so we keep that one and we store that for later use, and then we create the actual ray position, which is originating from the original position. Yes, you have. You're keeping this afloat. Okay, so that's the original position. and then our ray starts at that original position. And I think I keep the original position to do some calculations further down to know how far the ray ended up traveling. So that's why I need to keep that. Okay. Now we've got vec3 sun direction, which is the sun position minus... I think I can probably copy a bunch of this. But so basically, this is figuring out the direction to the sun. And I'm doing it like this with a fixed vector, because otherwise this is imitating like a sunlight source where all the rays are in the same direction. Whereas if I use the UV position, it's like a point light source, and the rays will like spread out. And so then you get, it just depends what you want, but I'm treating it like a sun. So every ray is in the same direction. So that takes care of that. I think I can, I'm just going to copy all of this and paste that in, and then we'll fix all the issues that come with that. Gee, why does it look so much bigger in the Godot thing than it feels over here? Maybe it's because I'm more zoomed out. I don't know. Feels bigger than I thought it would. Okay, I already did that. Whoops. Okay, what's the next issue down here? So LODs, that's what we figured out down here, is this num-LODs. I'm going to comment. No, I'll keep that. No, I won't. I'll get rid of it. We don't need this. You're gone. And this needs to be indented properly. There we go. So right at the start, we'll figure out the number of levels of detail. And just to make it easier on myself, I'm going to call that LODs to make it the same as what we had before. So then get height, this will be get height at level. I think this should be a fairly straightforward conversion because the Godot shaders are based on GLSL, even if they're not quite exactly the same thing, as we discovered with the MIP maps. And this is also at level. So I briefly explained this earlier. Oh, I need to do the indentation here as well. Why does it not like it? There we go. Maybe this is why it looked a bit funky. Oh, this all needs to be indented. Ugh. Why is it so gross? Why did it squish it so much? Yuck. How's the tea? I finished the tea. It was good. But that's an empty mug. Oh, there's a bit of residue in there. The tea was good. But see, this is the thing is I have to drink it hot. It doesn't last very long. Ah, well. It was tasty, though. Are you a tea or coffee sort of person? Because I will occasionally drink coffee, but it doesn't seem to have any sort of effect on me other than if I drink it too much, I will get like a withdrawal headache. So it's like most of the time I'll just drink decaf if I'm really wanting a coffee, because I don't want to get the headaches if I stop, because I'm only drinking it because of the taste. And it's basically only like an iced coffee. Almost never a hot coffee. But that is completely off topic, isn't it? I need to fix this scuffed indentation. It's really grotty. So let's see. There we go. I think that's not correct. That has... Hang on. There's something weird going on. You need a travel mug or something. I think I do have an insulated mug. Yeah, I don't know if I've got... I don't know. I've got so many like nice mugs. I really like this one. I don't know if you can... It's like these paint splatters, but I think it's really cool. But I got a whole bunch of mugs that I really like, and I don't know. Drinking out of a travel mug makes me sad. I think having an actual mug, I don't know, it just feels fancier or something. So yeah, I don't know. I quite enjoy the use of a mug, but I will yeah, keeping it hot for a while is a good thing. I know you can get those little things that you like a USB powered mug warmer or something, but I think that seems like a bit of overkill. I think the secret is just to drink it quickly while it's still warm. Just slug it down. Um, don't be afraid to go on tangents. Yeah, yeah, I should be. I think the thing is, I just don't know what I'm doing on a stream. To be honest with you, Half, I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. So I'm just I'm figuring it out. This is number 3, and I think it's going pretty well. But I'm sure as we do more of these, it'll become more and more comfortable. So we'll get there. We'll get there. Yeah. Okay. The indentation here, I don't know why it really doesn't want to cooperate. There we go. The secret to a happy life is to throw back that third cup of tea like you're a professional alcoholic. You joke about that, but I would genuinely probably have like 5 or 6 cups of tea per day. So I'm sure on the caffeine levels, I'm getting just as much as if I had several coffees in a day. But I don't feel like the caffeine really affects me that much. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't get. I don't think it really like. I don't feel more alert or anything after. I think a tea to me is more calming than energizing. So I don't know. I don't know if I should have divulged how many cups of tea I have per day. Whoops. Now, the thing that's freaking me out here is these indentation, like the number of brackets seems to be off. Maybe I'm drinking too much. Maybe. But see, like if I don't have tea during the day, I don't get a headache like I would from coffee. And so then, like my understanding, because it's the caffeine withdrawals that are making you get the headache. So I don't know if the tea is. I don't know because I don't. If I don't drink tea in a day, I don't think I really get a headache. So I don't know. I don't know what is going on with that. Whoa! You used to have 200 live viewers. That's crazy. Man, you should have kept going with that. I'm at 5. So you had 40 times as many. That's crazy. It's cool though. I respect that you were like just doing it because you loved it, and then when you stopped enjoying it, you moved on. I think that's a good healthy sign though. So yeah, I respect that move. But yeah, that's pretty crazy. 200. Nice. Now if anyone can spot where my brackets are going wonky. Oh, I think it's just because I didn't do. No, it's just that, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. Jeez, that is poor from me. I should have figured that out. You really got bread on your mind, haven't you, Half? So this minimum step size was 1 pixel. So I should figure out how to get the. I did figure it out. What did I? I figured out. Yeah, the indentation. I think I'm a bit slow at spotting things like that, as you can tell. There's been a few times where I've done a typo and not noticed it, but it's always like something really small and then easy to overlook. I think I'm usually looking for something glaringly, like some massive mistake, because I just assume that I've done something really dumb, and it turns out I have done something really dumb, but just not as catastrophically dumb as I thought. Anyway, I need to figure out, shader. I need to figure out like the texture, like the resolution that I'm rendering to, like the screen size. Screen pixel. Don't tell me that. Oh, have they already got it? Have they got rid of it? Please no. Oh, it's in the fragment. Okay, good. Whew. Where was it? Screen. Pixel size. Yes. Yes. This is so good. Okay, so where was I? Not that. Not that. Where is it? Oh, it's just in the other tab. I'm looking for a whole nother window. And now I've mixed up the order of the stuff over here. Okay. Love to be a big sourdough person. Because then you need like the sourdough starter, don't you? And like you treat it like a pet in a little jar, the little gooey jar thing. Because is that just the yeast? Are you just having like a yeast culture? Like what makes it sourdough? Because I think doesn't all bread have yeast? Don't know. You'll have to let me know. But sourdough is yummy. It is yummy stuff. Become the sourdough man of your dreams. You can do it. If you want to become a bread person, you can become a bread person. I believe in you. Yeasty beasties. Exactly. Got a little zoo on your windowsill. Okay, so how did we figure out? Oh, so the minimum step size is literally just the pixels. Okay, so that makes it very easy. Oh no, it's the minimum of the, okay, yeah, okay. So I will do a min step size, and then I'll calculate it up here. Min step size equals the minimum of this, and I think I probably need to do that and that. Is that right? Yes. Okay, so we're not getting any errors. This is a good sign. We're on the right track, I think. So then, so now we should know if we're in shadow or not. Right. Okay, good. So now I think we're going to have to figure out passing in a few of these different things, but we can do that in a second. I think mostly it's the sun position that we'll have to pass in. But for the moment, I think we just want to output. This is my biggest gripe with Godot so far is they use the American spelling of color. Shocking. It always catches me out. And I think it's more I'm upset because I screw it up, not because of the spelling, but that's what it is. Okay, so that's the output. So if we go back into Godot now, and how do we redock this? I don't know. If I close it, does it go back? Yes, cool. So now in here on our material, I think this is where the hints are useful because I think you can set like it's a color. Is that how that works? Yeah, cool. So then this is a color as well, and that means in the in here we can choose it. So the ambient light color. I mean, we're not actually using this yet, so I don't think I need to worry about it too much. Is I don't know. I think sunlight's meant to be slightly blue, isn't it? There were lots of helpful comments on my video telling me the colors that I should use, but I can't remember them off the top of my head. So we'll do that for the moment, but we're not actually using these, so that doesn't matter. What matters is the sun position, which we can pass in here. Instead of using the mouse position for the level of detail, we can use it for the sun pos, and that can be. So we get the viewport size. Okay, so we want a vector. So I keep forgetting to do the var thing. I forget which language I'm in all the time. Okay, so var sun pos is a vector 3. And it will be... Can I create a vector 3 from a vector 2? We're speaking English. I sometimes question that. I think sometimes I'm speaking gibberish. Can I create a vector 3 from a vector 2? Probably not. That's okay. So I want to do... so that's the mouse X. I also want to do... How do I duplicate in this? There we go. Also want the mouse Y. And then, yeah, I do want the width and height as well. How did I do that there? Height. So then I want mouse X. Divided by width. Mouse Y divided by height. I'm also super not used to typing camel case. Oh, I can do it. Oh, okay. I should have just tried it, shouldn't I? Because I know you can do it in like shaders and stuff, but because what I want to do, I think, is I want to do viewport.get mouse position divided by viewport dot size, and then in here I'm just going to put in 1 for the moment, and then I don't need to do all of this. Doesn't seem to... Does not like it. But I guess I can... Sorry. Where was I? Here. I can simplify all of this by just doing this. I'm storing that in a vector. And call it mouse normalize equals that. And then I can do mouse normalize.x and mouse normalize.y. That's better. That is better. Which programming languages do you know? Well, no is a strong word to use for what I have for a lot of languages, but like I'm fairly comfortable. I do a lot of Java, a lot of JavaScript. Go, I know a fair bit of. And then I have dabbled in some C and some C, and I have done some Python as well. And now doing some random GD script. So, like, I think though the thing is, once you've learned a couple of like 2 languages, say, obviously each language has its own nuances and its use cases, but by and large, a lot of it is just applying logic, and it's just like knowing the syntax then. And like, I mean, I screw up the syntax all the time because I'm moving between languages, but I think the mindset of programming is sort of independent of the language, if that makes sense. I think that's making it sound way more like, I don't know, more grandiose than it actually is. But like, what am I trying to say? I think I think you know what I'm trying to say. But yeah, the knowledge of programming is not necessarily in the language itself, but in how you apply the language, if that makes sense. I know all of them, but I'm not allowed to talk about them. Yeah, I'm being silenced by big language. Okay, so this does not like this because it doesn't have a set type. Okay. And then here I can pass in the sun pos. Like that. Now what happens? We get an error. That's good. So one of these is is that a integer vector? It is. Why does it have to be tricky? Can I convert this into a vector 2? That's the question. If I can type it. I can. Oh, look at that. We're getting somewhere. I mean, it definitely looks wrong, but we're sort of getting somewhere. It's also revolving around the middle of the screen, which kind of makes sense. Maybe I should, no, I think there's a nice way of doing this. I think I can make this this one. And then it'll ruin our aspect ratio, but that's okay. It could also just be because it's a super low resolution image. There's definitely something funky going on though. I'm going to very quickly just invert this because then it makes more sense for my brain. Having the shadows be black instead of white. Ho ho ho. We're getting somewhere. We are getting somewhere. There's definitely something funky going on though. But we are figuring it out. This is cool. This is good. So, what is the next step? The next step is probably doing something nicer about the shadows. But there's definitely something funky going on with the ray casting. Yeah, there's something funky going on. I wonder if it's something to do with the filter linear bitmap. Wonder if I try nearest, what will happen if I do that? Ooh, it's even weirder. Got some like cross hatching. It's kind of cool actually. Oh, there we go. We can just stretch this into a nice square. Maybe I should just do that in here. I don't actually know how to. Is it in the application? How do I do this? Where is it? Where is it? Display. It'll be in there, surely. Window. Yes. Okay. So let's make this a nice like power of 2 number and be done with that. And so this should be. Does it? Doesn't auto update. Okay, cool. Here we go. Boy, look at that. We're getting somewhere. I don't know if there's definitely something going on. We got to figure this out. We can figure this out. I wonder if it's to do with am I not offsetting something properly? Yeah, it's like dithering. It's really cool. I quite like the effect, but sorry, I'm struggling to open up the right window again. Where is it? Here. It's really like it looks really cool, but it's not what we're going for, unfortunately. It definitely has helped out the shadows being super dodgy, but I would have thought that actually having this on linear would have been beneficial because part of the big upgrades with using a floating point texture is that you can just interpolate between the height values now and get a smoother terrain. And so linear should be doing that for me. But it's clearly doing something dodgy. Very dodgy. Yeah, okay. Okay, let's have a look. I might pop this out again. Now, unfortunately, guys, I am going to have to go soonish because I got other things going on in my life other than just coding, which is a sad reality of things. But hopefully I can get this sort of looking a bit less janky before we go. Yeah, that's the goal. It's self-shadowing. Well, so yeah, I think that actually makes. Oh, actually no. Where it's doing it, I don't think it really does make sense. But it kind of makes sense because the model that I made in Blender is garbage with a capital G. Let me open up. See if I can open it up again and show you. Because I don't know how to use Blender. Anything remotely artistic, I struggle with. And so you can see here, it has got some weird. Or maybe it does make sense what was going on when I look at this, because I was just doing everything with like scaling and stuff, and so when I moved it in and out, it was like doing weird stuff on the Z axis, So maybe the self-shadowing does make sense now that you've seen this. Because yeah, these fold they like fold in these cog wheels for some, like the pins on it for some reason. How's it from the top? Yeah, so I think maybe it does make sense what it's doing. It's just it's the modeling that struggles, and I don't know how to I don't know how to fix it. Maybe I should have used a model that I didn't make myself. That's probably the upshot of that. I should have found a model. When I eventually make a proper video on this, maybe that's what I'll do. But so yeah, I think that self-shadowing kind of makes more sense now, given what we know. I'm still very confused why the shadows are so jagged though. So there's clearly something that I've either overlooked or works differently between P5JS and Godot. That's what it's called, isn't it? So let's have a look. I suspect it'll be somewhere in either the setting up of everything or in the loop itself. High gain. Thing is, I copied and pasted this over and then just fixed the errors. So maybe in my fixing of errors, I've unfixed something else. But we shall see. We shall see. Let's do a Roblox stream. I was actually thinking it could be kind of fun to... I've been doing a bit of GeoGuessr recently. And because I'm too cheap to pay for a membership, you can do a round once per day. So I was thinking maybe to finish off, we could do a quick round of GeoGuessr just for a bit of fun. I'm garbage at it, but it's fun. And it's kind of cooked. On the free version, they let you do... So it's a 3-guess round. Like you get 3 rounds for the day. And it's a 2-minute time limit as well on each round. So it's just really hard. It's really hard. Okay. Sorry. I know you said it's okay to go on tangents, but I'm getting hangry. I want to finish this off before lunch if I can. But if we can't, that's okay. I was kind of worried that we are going to get stumped just at making the map stuff, but we got past that and we are flying now. So I think we're in a pretty good state. All things considered. But I don't know where we're going wrong. Let's see. Is this maybe looking at the wrong... Oh, I wonder if... if I do that. Because the levels... The level of detail number, because I was in charge of passing in this LODS thing, the number of levels of detail. And so this was including the highest resolution bit. And I think I was passing in... Yeah, so I was passing in the entire... including the highest resolution, where, as before we saw in Godot, it doesn't really include that in the calculations. So I wonder if that... I think that might have helped. I honestly can't remember. I can't remember what it looked like before. Let me see. If I undo that and do it, does it look more cooked? Yes? I want to say yes. I don't know. Okay, what I'm going to do is if I... That is not what I wanted to open up. If I... Now, I think there's a shortcut for Windows Shift S to start a snip. Okay, so if I hold this over that icon, Windows Shift S, boom, we get a snip of that. Okay, and then we undo that change that we did, put that back that way, and rerun this. Okay, this is extremely scientific. And I put this back over that. It's the exact same. Okay. Did I? Okay, I'm losing my mind, but I think this makes sense because this level I was starting at the wrong level. I think so. I think that is correct, but there clearly is something else going on as well. Do you have to tell? Do you have to tell the shader that it's a floating point shader? A floating point image, sorry. Texture value. Render out half a sphere. Yeah, okay, that's a very, very sensible suggestion, isn't it? Now that means I've got to remember how to do some stuff in Blender, which is always a struggle. Okay, add, where is it? Add. There is no add. Oh no. What are the hotkeys? Add here. Here we go. Mesh, circle, no, sphere. Yes. And is that at the origin? No, it's not. How do you... It's like Alt-G? Yes. Yes. Something's coming back to me. Okay, so this is... If we go into shading... Where did my thing go? Oh, it's a material, isn't it? So I can do... what material is this? How do I... How do I apply here? Yes. Good. Why does it look the same though? Did I not apply that? I don't know what I'm doing. A donut. Oh, a donut might be even better than a sphere. That's a good idea. But yeah, using some sort of sensible geometry rather than some scuffed thing is a very good idea. Yes. I think you're all onto something here. Okay, Alt-G. And we'll just scale it up a little bit like that. Okay. Let me go back to shading. So why does this not seem to apply the shading that I want? Or does it? That's the question. No, it doesn't. Why does it not do that? Am I on the wrong setting maybe? I don't know what these are. I don't know what any of this is. I don't know if you can tell, but I don't use Blender a whole bunch. Does anyone know why this material is not being applied? My viewport isn't set to shaded. And how would one set their viewport to shaded? Is it this one? I think it's that one, isn't it? Because that looks more like what I would expect. Is that the answer? I'm on the negative Z. There we go. Is that what that does? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And so what was I on? So that just doesn't use the material, does it? Okay. Look, I think that we're close enough to being correct. So if I hit F12, where for some reason, how can I exclude this from? Is that what that button does? Yes. All right, we are getting somewhere. Alt Shift S. Somehow I know that, and this will be called. No, I'm going to call it Donut because that's a much more fun name than Torus. Save. Okay. You guys are. This is a good idea. A very good idea. Block bench. I've never heard of that. It seems like Blender's just like the industry sort of standard. So I think I'll probably just go along with that. Did I save that in the wrong spot? Where did I save that? I did save it in the wrong spot. Now the question is, where is the right spot? Let's do this over here. Where is the right spot to save that? I think it's... Yes, here we go. Cool. Got it. Save. So that should now be accessible via Godot. Yes. Okay, good. Now, in this script, instead of using the cog, we will use the donut. And if we run that, we're getting donutty things, but it's definitely a bit cooked. I think, actually, you know what I think might really help is I think we're just looking at super basic. Is this pixel in shadow or is it not? So I might do the bit where it gets slightly fancier with the, like I may as well just finish copying across the shader and then we can figure out where it's all going wrong. So all this stuff here, I'm just going to copy that and whack it in down the bottom here. Okay. And again, all of the indentation is cooked, so we can fix that. Get normal. Oh yeah, I didn't copy that across, did I? Get normal. I think that's kind of straightforward though. Although this is not actually the normal. It's kind of like a cooked version of the normal. Oh, and this is gonna have a whinge at me, isn't it? Because yes, it is gonna have a whinge. All right, where did I use get normal? I'm gonna have to pass in vec3 and 0. And where is this? Back up here, we're gonna have pix, which is I need to put the type in vec3, and then I'm just gonna replace that back to this. Here we go, and hopefully, when we run this, what happens? What happens? We get we get a bajillion errors is what we happen. Woohoo! Look at that. It's going nuts. What's it saying? I should probably just shut this, shouldn't I? Parameter version is not... What do you... What's that going on about? I don't know. Don't know what that is. I do not know what that is. Am I going insane or did I just put that pix in? Oh, I could, because I'm so dumb. Because I copied and pasted over it, didn't I? Okay, let's see. Run this. And we still get lots of errors. Unknown expression pause. Is that? Oh, yep. So everywhere that is, yeah, okay. Oh, and then the scene color, I also don't have that. So we will just be outputting the light color, I think. Now if we run this, what do we get? Whoa, we're getting better. Okay, no, the shadows are still completely cooked. I think part of the problem is though that we're looking at I think this is a 256 by 256 texture, and we've blown it up to 1024 by 1024. But the shadows are looking nicer now. They're not as scuffed. There's definitely still a bit of jank going on. But I think we're looking much better. I wonder if... Yeah, let me try it in Blender. I'm going to whack the output up to 1024 by 1024. And just see if... I keep pressing escape. Oh my gosh. 1024. Why doesn't it... What is going on? Alright. So I wonder now if I do that, get a much higher resolution. And export. How do I save it like that? That's how I save it. Oh, no? Why isn't it? Maybe it's hiding the dialogue on me. I can probably save it up here, can I? Image. Save as, yes. So we want Donut Chungus. Donut Chungus. Alright, and then if we use that instead, Donut Chungus, and we run that, hopefully, it is nicer. I think the thing is the model that we're using is only got so big of a poly count. So it almost looks good, as you're saying. I'm gonna try changing the light color to like a nice orangey. Nice orangey thing like that, and see what that does to it. Okay, not what I was expecting, but I guess we're only looking at the light color, so it kind of makes sense. Then, like, if I change the ambient color, what happens then? Does the shadows get more red? It doesn't really look like it, but that's okay. It suddenly looked really good at the end here. When you mouse at the bottom right corner. There's points where it does look alright, and then there's points where it looks terrible. I think the model that I've used to create this height map, we've got to keep in mind that that's also very low. Well, it's low poly, I guess. So there's some weirdness going on. These little gaps here in the shadow in the middle, I don't know how I can indicate it without moving my mouse, but the in the middle of the donut, those gaps in the shadows there, that annoys me, and I don't know what's causing that. But I think to be honest, I think this is a good place to stop for today. Like, I'm really happy with how. If you look back at the start of the stream when we were trying to just get some colors showing up in the shader, and you compare that to where we are now, I think we've made some amazing progress. And thank you all so much for helping out. I would not have got anywhere near here without your help. Test gear again. I think the issue with the gear is that it's super low res in multiple ways, so it's still cooked. The gear is just this is like the ultimate test to pass. If we can get this looking good, I think any height map data will work. And you can see that it's trying its best. Like, it's not looking completely munted. Like, you can tell that they're meant to be shadows, but it's pretty munted. It is pretty munted. I think the normals help a lot to like smooth it out, because you can actually start seeing the geometry a bit. It does look cooler now. I think that's the normals and like the smoothing out of the shadows. But yeah, I think this is a good point to leave it. I think we're in a good position. I might quickly do a round of GeoGuessr just for fun. But yeah, thank you all so much for your help. I really, really appreciate it. I would not have gotten this far without you guys. So thank you for that. I'm going to save that for the moment, and then we're going to jump onto GeoGuessr. And
we'll see how we go. I'm not gonna go pro today. Sorry, but we've got the free daily game. Okay. No helping me in the chat. No helping me. Oh Jesus. Okay. I feel like that if you've ever watched the pros, I can't. If you ever watch the pros do this, it's crazy the things that they'll notice. It's like, this lamppost you only ever see in this region of this country. Where's the? I'm just trying to see this sign. Okay. I don't know what script that is. You were saying before that I knew every language, but this is proving otherwise. Let's try and get down to a big intersection. Okay. Where's the sun? It's in the south, so we're in the northern hemisphere. Okay. Is this a really dicey one? Here we go. What's up here? What's this building say? Where was it? This looks helpful. This looks very helpful. I'm rapidly running out of time here. This is not good. Just want a flag or something, something really easy. Help me out. Or even like a website domain or something. This is not going well. All right. I wonder if this is fair. I don't know though. It's a bit of a sketchy one to be thrown out here for us, isn't it? Am I going to see something right at the end that's going to make it super obvious? Oh, look at that. That was pretty. I'm not going to lie, I had no idea where we were. So that's a pretty. I'm not too unhappy with that. All right, let's see. Judging by the light post, I think we're I have no idea where we are. All right, where's the sun? It's like directly overhead. I guess that's kind of helpful. Why did I go backwards there? Anyway, I guess that's kind of helpful because what language was that? Go back. Okay, so I think we're in South America. The question is where, and my Spanish and Portuguese, I can't tell them apart, I'm afraid. Oh, there's some very helpful looking signs. I just went past one though. What's this? Oh, it's the same sign as down here. Go to this one. I think it was better. Oh, it's just a .com. That's not helpful. Got a minute left. Some banana trees. Yeah, okay. So I think South America somewhere is correct, but the question is where, and it's a big old place. We got Bernie Sanders. Oh, so maybe we're that's confused me, but I guess we must be in close to the border of Mexico. Oh, that's cool. We got a water container on the house. That's cool. That's smart. So we must be on the border of. I didn't. Oh yeah, look. Here we go. An American flag. But then there's some other. Are these state flags or are these country flags? Oh, here we go. Help me. Oh shit, we're running out of time. I did not. Oh, is Puerto Rico American? That confused me so much. That was very confusing. All right, last round. 2 minutes on the clock again. Where is the sun? It is in the south, so another northern hemisphere one. Australia is horribly underrepresented in this game. I'm just going to say that. Was that a Cuban flag? I don't think it was a Cuban flag. I don't know. I don't know what it might have been a Cuban flag actually. I don't know. Was it it was the Puerto Rico flag? Okay, so this is again looking potentially South American. See, the thing I just don't know enough about anything to know anything. AG, does that mean we're in Argentina? I'm just gonna pop that there for the moment, and we're gonna go on that guess. Okay, so Karen, can we see that in here? I guess that's a bit ambitious, I think, because I'm assuming this is not a big place. Travaso and I'm not. No, I shouldn't try and should not try and say the names because I'm going to embarrass myself. But I'm assuming that these are quite small places, so I don't know if it's worth looking at in the map for these. I'm going to try and find a sign with like a bigger place and hopefully some sort of confirmation that we are actually in Argentina. Is that a big sign or was that a truck? I think that was a truck. Very unfortunate. This could be a grim one. I think this has been a very grim round, to be honest. I'm going to go closer to up here. Does that make sense? Probably not. Ooh! Ooh! Oh, that's gross. We're in Portugal. It makes sense that it was Portuguese. I thought the AG was going to be, on the truck, was going to be Argentina. Oh, well, that's all right. that was a horrific round. Hang on, let's have a look at the breakdown. Oh, I think I somehow skipped it. Oh, well. There we go. That was that. That was awful. Terrible guessing. I think you guys were doing a lot better than me. You guys know your flags and stuff. I think Australia is just a very isolated place from everywhere else in the world, so could not. The Israel one I did all right on, but other than that, that was just luck. But yeah, anyway, thanks guys for hanging out. It's been a lot of fun. And I will probably, whenever I'm next working on the Shadow stuff, I will probably stream that as well because your guys' help was so helpful. That's why it's called help, I guess. But yeah, thanks for hanging out and catch you all later. Cheers. Goodbye. Now I've got to figure out. I always forget how to end the stream. I think I do that here. All right. See ya.